let's start from the very beginning.
Tippy top.
How long have you been in real estate? What got you into the industry? I mean, what inspired you to do it?
Yeah, excellent. So I've now been in real estate for 14 and a half years. 9 of those officially last month with the Century 21 Network. Yay!
Oh,
I know, I'm very excited. It's always nice to get that letter.
yeah.
You've been with us for 9. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was great. And then originally I was in the project management space. So I was managing very large projects, multi-$100 million projects for a design company where we would go in and rip apart 3 floors in an office tower, redo all of their, this is going to make me sound really old, their tech and wiring systems that used to run under the floor because nothing was wireless. That dates me a little bit. And then, and we would redo all of their office furniture, modular wall systems as well. And my best friend at the time, who's a real estate agent, was like, you should just leave your job and come and do real estate. And I would kind of help him on the sides, with a couple of things. And it was just one of those things. One day, the company that I was working for grew too big for its britches. They were bringing me projects that I couldn't handle because there wasn't enough of me going around. And I quit and literally wrote the test as soon as I could and then never looked back. That was kind of it.
Wow.
Didn't actually have a plan in place and was just, fly by the seat of my pants. Let's do it.
And what made you trust this friend that, okay, let's just make this switch?
Yeah. He was making money. And he and his partner, and they built a real estate team, and I saw what they were able to do. And I was like, well, if he can do it, come on,
you can do it too. So you have a team now.
Yes.
The Opportunity Homes Collective team.
Yeah.
How many people are you and what do you specialize in? Like, how did you form the team?
Yeah. So in terms of the team itself, so right now, because sometimes, we ebb and flow, big and small. So it's myself, a buyer's agent, Allie, who's on my team. And then I have an ISA, so that's inbound sales for calls. And then 2 VAs that work for me, virtual assistants. And then, so it came about that I needed to grow the team. It was 2020. It was my 10 years in the business. And I was like, well, I kind of got to make a move, right? I can do the solo work on my own, but I'd be stronger with a team. So I really set out to do that. I got a business coach that year, which has made all the difference. And then, so since then, we've gone through a couple of different iterations of the team to sort of find a couple of sweet spots where the inner workings are. And so we're in the process of growing and expanding this year and hoping to add 2 to 3 agents. So depending. And then in terms of specializing, so my personal specialty is transitional real estate. So I help individuals and families in highly emotional states deal with their transactions. So that's loss of loved one, divorce, seniors leaving their home for the first time in 30, 40 years, relocations where people are coming across the country and have never even seen Vancouver and relocating here. Those are my bread and butter.
That's often what a lot of people run from is the emotional stuff. Why? What drew you to it?
So originally what had happened was my grandmother had passed away in Ontario and we went back to sell the family home. And even though the real estate agent was amazing, I went through that process and I was like, there's something desperately lacking, right? Because we didn't have the care maybe that I felt we really needed. So that was part of it. And then, so I started sort of specializing and making sure that I had the education and the training to go with that so I could offer something to the public. So I'm a certified transition coach, so I can coach people through the process. I'm a seniors real estate specialist, so that, I can deal with seniors as well. And then I have 3 negotiating certificates on top of that, so that I can negotiate not only with, for deals, but in families when the inner workings can get hard, right? And so as I started to do that, the clientele really came to me and I started partnering with family lawyers and getting referrals that way.
Wow. Yeah. So that is definitely one of the more unique angles that we see, but it all makes total sense. Hey, my next question is not on the list, but how do you not take those emotions home with you and not get emotionally involved and totally burn yourself out that way?
Yeah. And some of that is knowing my own personal limitations and understanding that whatever's happening within the room or within a conversation is not directed at me. This is, if somebody's spouting off, talking to, if they're in a divorce and somebody's saying all the mean things about women or someone saying all the mean things about men in the whole wide world, that's their space. I can hold space for that, but it doesn't belong to me. Right. So sometimes, though, I will come home and be like, oh, it is time for a glass of wine.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's just understanding that that emotion belongs to somebody else.
Do these types of transactions take longer?
Much longer. The longest one I ever dealt with, from the very moment we had a conversation till the deal closed, 3 years. Yeah. And then I've done everything for, especially for divorces, and then for estate sales, I've been asked to be a witness in court a couple of times for some of the different transactions and where they were at. Yeah. So very big deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of emotions there.
I mean, I do regular transactions too.
Yeah. So this isn't 100% of your business. Okay. That's kind of good to know. It makes me feel better to know that you're not, this weight isn't on you. How often does that training come in handy?
All the time. Oh my gosh. Well, the negotiating stuff is every day. I mean, I use it with my partner. Let's be honest, right? Yeah. So, and the negotiating stuff is fairly simplistic. When it comes to seniors real estate, sometimes it's identifying things before they become a problem. I've been in situations where I've identified where there was elder abuse and brought that forward, significant amounts of it. So it's training that can really help people in the long run. It's not just about selling homes, right? So yeah, it comes in handy a lot. Yeah.
So how are things in the market for you? It's started off to be kind of a busy spring season already for you.
Yeah, for me, yes. I got, 14 and a half years in the business, so I hope I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
But we did notice sort of going into the holiday season, we had a nice uptick in the market and we were really excited. We're like, oh, it's going to be great. Of course, over the holiday season, as is tradition, the inquiries fell off and people wanted to be with their families doing other things. Not a problem. There was a little bit of a slower season for December than normal. We were expecting that there was going to be a really big pickup at the very beginning of January because Chinese New Year was early this year, which normally has an effect on our marketplace. It took a little bit longer to get going, but now it's very, very busy. Like I was saying earlier to you, I'm looking at right now my first quarter of the year. Our jobs board were 13 deals ahead on last year right now. So if everything hits, it could be even bigger than that. So very fortunate.
We're only 6 weeks into the year. Like, that's crazy.
I'm working hard.
Yeah. You're working a lot, I'm sure. So what tools do you rely on to manage all these different things, to manage the clients, to manage the emotions? What do you find useful from C21?
Yeah, excellent. So besides wine, of course. No, so my CRM is the one thing that I work with primarily. And that is where all of the information is kept on every single individual and where every single workflow is laid out. So if we have a client and they're being put into the system, it's because there is an associated set of things that need to happen with them. So that's taken care of in there. I've also got what we call Mojo Dialer. So that helps for all the phone calls that we make to not just the database, but to our leads. And then when it comes to the Century 21 stuff, I'm using everything from the marketing center to be able to market the properties. So everything from creating flyers to postcards to everything that needs to go out, because that's the most important, is the marketing aspect of everything we do. Yeah.
What is your marketing strategy? Like social media, print, where do you find you get your best bang for your buck?
Yeah, so it completely depends. So if we're marketing specifically for properties, we do that based on the buyer avatar. So certain buyers will be looking on Facebook. Other buyers will be actually looking in newsprint if it's, a downsizer. So we actually target directly to where they're at. So that makes the most sense there. But when it comes to inbound leads and getting sort of internet leads for the team, then we're looking at Facebook because it's still best bang for our buck right now. And we've got a ad running currently that is delivering 7 leads a day, 7 to 10, and they're all high intent. And on top of that, we've turned over, since starting the program last February, we've turned over, I don't know, 12 of them, which have been really good. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really working for you.
Yeah.
So it is paid advertising to find those leads that you're finding is the most.
Yeah. And less of so there's very top of the funnel when they come in, and then they're about midway through is where I'd place most of our people, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah. What about community events, that sort of thing? Do you go to a lot of that? Do you find that there's a lot of business to be had, or do you find you're getting better results elsewhere?
Yeah, so still heavily involved in the community. I was the chair for the LGBTQ Business Association here in Vancouver for 2.5, 3 years. So I've just resigned that position because work's a little busy. So we're getting stuff done there. Heavily involved in BNI, so Business Networking International. So I was the president of our chapter last year. And I find that, of course, because it's a referral-based system anyways, results in a lot of business, which is nice. And then after that, in terms of other community events, I mean, I throw 2 for my clients a year. So one at Christmas and then one in the summer so that we can get people involved in our... So Christmas is a nice Christmas party, right? Big and a little bit ruckus. And then in the summer, it's actually a Polynesian party. So yeah, lots of fun. Big tiki man and yes, all sorts of...
Where do you host these?
So they were previously being done at my house, but I've just got a membership at the Vancouver the False Creek Yacht Club. So that's where we'll be doing them all.
Yeah. I had a friend who had a membership there. We had really good parties there.
It
was really fun.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I'm doing all my Century 21 Canada conference for 2026 events. Yeah. I know our mastermind will be there, which is nice. And then a cocktail thing for some of my referral partners.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it. How do these C21 conferences impact your business?
So since I started attending them in 2010, when was that? When did I join the network? 9 years ago. So our very first one.
Allentown?
No, it would have been Vancouver.
Vancouver 2016.
2016, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
So that was when I realized just how big the network was and how much opportunity there was. I am right now, at this point in time in the year, I'm 32% of my business is agent to agent referrals specifically. We're going to be getting those rookie numbers up.
Yep.
So I find that the network itself has not only been a great source of information, because it's easy to be able to bounce great ideas off of people in other marketplaces, ask about, hey, what are you seeing? What's working for you? And try out new things. But then on top of that, it's just a massive, huge source of referral business for me. And it's taken some time to grow that, to be honest. But I feel that I'm the number one choice in Vancouver for people referring.
Yeah. You're the first thing that comes to mind for me. But what makes C21 different? You were obviously with someone else first. You came to C21. And you've stayed and you're seeing results. What has it been?
So I think head office support has been very good because our conferences are always well designed, right? So there's an element of that to it as well. And then on top of that, it's actually the people that the brand attracts, right? And I think there's a lot to be said about that because you can go and take a look at other brokerages around and they attract a very specific style of agent. And in the Century 21 network, you've got high performers, people who are heavily involved in the community, people who want to be seen as professionals and taken as professionals. And I think that makes a huge difference. You don't get that with all the other brokerages that are available across Canada. Yeah.
What advice do you have for new realtors?
Oh, geez, get a mentor. That's first thing. And honestly, do a business plan. So I'm a mentor in my office, and so mentees come through. We interview them, make sure they're a good fit for hanging out with me for a couple of months, and while they learn the business. But the first thing is to build a business plan. I don't care that you don't have numbers from last year. We need to understand what your goals are. You need to understand what your burn rate is, what you're spending every month, and what you need to bring in and how long it's going to take. And you have to have a plan specifically around the lead sources that you're going to use and that you're going to stick to for at least a set of 6 months and put full effort into, or else, you can't track and measure what might be working or what might not be working. And you might be putting effort into, filming a bunch of videos that really aren't going anywhere, or you might be putting a bunch of effort into networking. You're not a great networker, right? Like, you've got to figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are, and then figure out that, maybe talking to your sphere of influence is the most important and is turning the most business. So that's where you should be focusing your effort. But without having a actual plan in place, you'll never know. So
Cool.
Yeah.
What else do you think were you expecting me to ask that I didn't ask?
Oh.
What?
Jeez.
What have I missed anything?
Are you a real redhead?
I think you
Which
are.
I am.
I think you are.
Yeah,
I can see it. I love it.
And I'm fiery.
Yeah.
I think we all know. No, I can't think of anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's, I love the network. I feel really blessed to be part of it and to be trusted by so many people. So yeah, I'm just excited to be here.
Great. Excellent. Thank you.